Starfleet Underground. Every week, we'll take a look at the latest Star Trek news and then check out a current or classic episode of Star Trek. Tilly wants a dark matter interface. Stamets is a bigger asshole than usual. Saru throws a big feast. Detmer's haiku is specific and gory. Adira needs an electro trill bath with Burnham. And even the Discovery computer thinks everybody needs the night off and gives them movie sign. Movie sign!
Good, okay, let's get started.
All right, let me collect the ship. And we're good to go.
That is so cool.
I still love being Clout. This is awesome. Okay. The light is on. Dang it. Okay. Welcome back, everybody, to Starfleet Underground. We are here. We're cloaked, and we are brought to you by Section 31. I'm trying to get all the stuff out of the way because this was another exciting for the homework for Discovery. I can't even contain myself here. I, of course, is the captain of this fine vessel. My name is Nathan, if you haven't heard or just tuning in for the first time. And our crew is here, starting off with Lieutenant Ferris. Why am I messing up your name?
Did she get married to Colin Farrell all of a sudden?
I haven't had my coffee this morning yet. So where's the replicator? I need to get coffee. Replicator coffee strong. There we go. Okay, go ahead. Good morning.
Hi, I'm Heather Ferris, not Farrell. And I'm the science officer. And Captain, you know what? Don't worry about the whole name thing because I gotta talk to you about the carpet. I know it's brand new carpet, but I sort of gave the Tribbles the Halloween candy and the Tribbles are throwing up everywhere. Apparently it doesn't. Halloween candy and Tribbles don't mix.
You're not supposed to give them chocolate.
I woke up and it was all gone and they were there and they had puked and the carpet. And anyway, Captain, I need your help.
Is that why it smells like burnt fur and pigeon poop?
You could smell that? That's going all the way down the hall?
Oh, my God. This thing. I'm going to need to check your records to see if you're related to Edward.
So much for that new ship smell.
And I thought that was our computer guy farting. I didn't know it was the Tribble. Speaking of our computer guy, hey, computer guy.
My farts do not smell.
Yes.
Yeah, they all say that. It's never true.
Hey, it's the vacuum of space, okay? You can't smell anything.
That's only when you're in the airlock. We can open the airlock and let it all out.
Well, I'm Patrick. I'm number one. I'm the computer guy. I'm the foreign species liaison. And sometimes you are feral there, Heather. Yeah, you know. So it works. It works.
Don't want to say anything there, Patrick, but your farts actually saved us from a space amoeba. So that was cool.
That's a good.
Okay.
Well, they also saved us from Species 847 too.
That's true. They came aboard and they went. So
that's because I ate Heather's cooking.
Hey, my cooking saved the day for once.
We also have our engineer who keeps the ship running smooth.
Everyone gets so excited about Taco Tuesdays, but overnight and Wednesday mornings,
it's not good.
Windy Wednesdays.
Yeah.
Windy Wednesdays. Now that's funny. Taco Tuesday by Wednesday. That's
good stuff.
That's going to make me giggle for the rest of the day.
Do we get Pugsley Thursdays?
Oh my God.
Can we have Freaky Fridays too?
Oh, that's
Fridays have always been freaky.
True. Okay, good point.
Always. You know, we have our computer person walking down with a banana hammock going in. Would anybody play my horn? So that's normal on a Freaky Friday.
I do not.
Yes, you do.
I've seen it.
Casual Fridays on the Starship.
The banana hammock would be on the floor.
Yo, but again, I don't mind you wearing it, but do you have to put a hat on it?
It's Mr. Banana Hammock to you.
Yeah, this is what I thought.
Is that a banana or are you just happy to see me?
No, it's a banana.
No. When he comes out of the shower, he leaves a trail behind him like a snail. You can always tell. Okay, we're actually went really off the rails this morning.
I have nothing engineering to say about myself today, so that's okay.
We went really off the rails today, but we're going to start off with first. Is there any corrections that we have?
I have not gotten any subspace communications that I am aware of, so I believe we made a fabulous cast last week with our guest from London.
Yes, actually, that was pretty cool. It was nice having a Jem'Hadar on board. They were much nicer than I thought they would be.
Well, you know, if you keep them supplied with Ketracel White and they're fine.
Now, also, since we have no corrections in another flawless podcast, we're going to go with news. You have any news on there? Lieutenant Ferris?
Aye, Captain. Oh no, I did the 2 eyes and I didn't mean to.
We're not a pirate.
Ice, baby.
I, Captain. Okay. So my news this week is a microscopic 3D printed Star Trek Voyager ship was created. And the cool thing about this ship is that it can move on its own. It could propel itself through liquid using a chemical reaction. It's not water, but that's what helps it propel through the liquid. And this thing is 15 microns in size.
So you mean bigger than the captain's wiener?
You're talking about another captain and another starship somewhere else. Do they have a mini Captain Janeway on it? That would be really cool. On a quest for coffee.
I think I might have seen her in the window.
There's coffee in that nebula.
I just love that the scientists of the world do stuff like this. They're Star Trek fans. They do that kind of thing. How cool is that? That's so friggin' cool.
Star Trek fans rule the world, you know.
A lot of this stuff on the show becomes self-fulfilling prophecy. So I'm just saying, because now on Earth at this time, they have antimatter. When I was growing up and Star Trek was first on the air, they did not have doors that opened on their own. But somebody saw it on the show and goes, yeah, we could do that. So
that's really technology. Oh my God, this is blowing my mind. I had no idea the doors didn't do that back then.
No, doors back then didn't open on their own.
Oh, wow.
And flip phones came from our communicators.
How would you go to like the grocery store?
I know. Like every time I go to the grocery store now, I'm going to think Star Trek.
And that's what happened.
You know, like that was inspired.
That's
so cool.
The first CDs were used on Star Trek with the library Vatas. The first floppy disks were the things that Spock used to use to slide into the console to look. The first iPads was on the Next Generation.
Yes. So, and the first like cell phone too, right? Or, where you had the earbud thing in.
The flippy communicators. And you got your Bluetooth earpieces.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I
thought you had the first floppy disk, Captain.
You're really on a roll today.
Yeah, but it was an 8.5-inch one, right?
No, it's 5 1/4.
It wasn't. Oh, okay. Oh, sorry, Captain.
You know, next time I see you down the hall, I'm going to slap that hat off of you.
It's sewn on.
So next we have, what do you have for news there? Speaking of floppies.
Oh, okay. Ha ha ha. You're funny. Not. Okay. So Star Trek Discovery Season 4 production has begun in Toronto.
Nice.
And Doug Jones has shaved his head again, so he doesn't have to, do too much for his Saru makeup. So we have a Season 4 in the production now.
That's pretty friggin' cool.
Woohoo.
You have any news there for us there, our illustrious engineer?
I I'm faithful to trekmovie.com. I get all my news from them. They're like so good at that stuff. It's kind of an inside baseball. They're talking about Viacom CBS and their streaming utilities. You know, how we get to watch CBS All Access and it's going to become Paramount Plus. Well, they had, I guess, a big end of the quarter meeting and they basically reached the target to 18 million subscribers over the last so much time. I mean, they were aiming for like 18 and 17.9 million domestic subscribers, which is 72% a year-on-year up. So I don't know. The numbers sound cool. It's one of those things where it was like, okay, we know streaming services can see how many people are streaming these things, but they don't tell anybody these numbers. So we don't know how popular everything is. But we know it's popular. They've been kind of saying Star Trek's doing really good because they're still talking about it. They're actually putting pictures of the Lower Decks crew on their PowerPoint presentation. I mean,
oh, that's cool.
They showed one of the slides that there on the side is like, wow, that's cool. They're using them to show the growth, and Lower Decks people are looking cool and happy, and I gotta love it, you know? So if you have any doubts about Star Trek right now, probably don't need to worry about it, because we're doing good.
And speaking of doing good, also, they're letting out, it's already out there if you're not aware of it. I may be on a late plate on this, but Star Trek Picard is on Blu-ray now, with a lot of gag reels behind the scenes and a beautiful box that folds up, and it shows the entire crew that's there. So if you went the first season and you're into a lot of miscellaneous factoids as well as little things like that, go out and get the Blu-ray.
Nice.
It's going to be really awesome to see. And it was released, when was it here? Let me look on the console. It looked like it was released sometime in October. So you got time to go get it.
Could be a very nice stocking stuffer.
Yes.
Or banana hammock stuffer.
I knew it.
True.
I knew it. He was going to bring it up. So now that we get all of our homework and everything out of the way, and I, again, apologize for calling you feral. I don't know what's going on in my head. That's strange. That's frightening and intoxicating at the same time. So,
I must admit, I haven't heard Heather do a cat impersonation before. That's a new one.
So, but since we don't have a guest, we don't worry about her frightening them today. So, Lieutenant Ferris,
or cooking for them.
The con is yours for our next section.
Aye, Captain. Okay, so this episode is Star Trek Discovery Season 3, Episode 4, Forget-Me-Not. It first aired on Thursday, November 5th, 2020. Teaser. Time travel takes a toll. Storyline A. The Doctor examines Adira and the symbiont, and both are perfectly healthy. But even though they remember how to speak 7 different languages, play the cello, and cook a mean Bajoran burrito, they don't remember anything about their past. The only way that they can remember all of their memories is by traveling back to Trill and asking for help. Since no one has any better ideas, the plan is a go. For storyline B, the Doctor notices that the crew is going through some serious PTSD. Time traveling 1,000 years into the future will do that to a person. The Doctor wants to help, but how is that possible when they deny that there's anything wrong? Acknowledgement of the problem is the first step towards recovery.
Is it really?
Yeah.
This was a good episode in the beginning. You have a chance to see, and we talked about this 2-3 episodes ago, how there wasn't time for people to start missing things. And you see it is taking a toll. And the whole crew, everybody is almost kind of walking through in a fog.
Well, yeah, it's one of these things we noticing once in a while is how the hell does a Starfleet person deal with the day-to-day on this kind of ship? Because, I mean, one, they're bouncing all over the place in a spore network drive. That's got to be stressful. You run into a tardigrade. I'm like, oh my God, that's insane. You've gotten attacked by a crazy man who hit himself in a space whale. You've been to a parallel universe, a mirror universe, because your captain came from there and wanted to take everybody back and destroy the world and universe. It's just, how much insanity do you have to deal with? And you just, how do these people cope?
Yeah.
Well, one of the main themes throughout this whole episode was trauma. So there's the trauma that Adira feels, not knowing what happened to her, the trauma from the crew, not, losing everything, 1,000 years ago. And then you find the trauma when you get to Trill of what happens there. So it's kind of it's a very emotional, trauma-laden episode.
One of the things that I also enjoyed is that being a person in command, I like seeing how the command structure is and what makes a good officer. And Saru showed that. He is concerned and he wants to try to figure a way out. And Culber is kind of even sliding into the role, almost trying to be a ship's counselor. And I don't believe that counselors were even in that position back then. But it was really interesting that he listens about it and he's trying to figure a way. So it's really interesting seeing people walk around and for him to try to get people to open up. One of the things you learn in dealing with post-traumatic stress disorder is that in order to lessen the impact of it, you have to talk about it. The more you talk about it over and over and over again, eventually it becomes like a story in your head and it has less of an impact. Mm-hmm. Is that when you bottle it up and you don't let it out is when it starts to fester and cause problems. So I think whoever did the writing and research did a really good job on that.
Well, speaking from personal experience, in my having been sober for a while, the things that happened in my addiction, some of them were pretty traumatic, and being able to discuss them openly and, time after time helped them to have less of a hold on me.
Bingo. That's perfect from life experience. Outstanding.
Yeah, I can relate to the need to go through something stressful, and sometimes I enjoy the stressful situations because as a video production guy, we get in stressful situations when you're doing live production. It happens, but sometimes it does get to you, and it's nice to be able to blow off steam in a useful and constructive way. So
blow who?
Some guy named Steam.
Hello?
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I got his name right.
Yeah. I can give you his number later if you want.
Steam is really cute.
He's hot stuff.
I can really relate to this stuff. No, HR's not paying attention. Don't worry about it.
Good.
Okay.
Remember, we're on a tight beam.
Yeah, the tight beam is working right now. Cloaked, but with a tight beam.
I'm sure Steam was a tight beam. Good.
Yes.
Nah, he just fizzled.
But so the need to blow off steam is something I can relate to, and I imagine if you don't have the time or the outlet to get it done, you can get a little crazy. I'm pretty sure it wears on you for sure. So watching this episode ties into those things for me personally. One thing I noticed just in the beginning of this episode, I love the speaking production stuff, the music, that little piano they were playing with the monologue from the Doctor. I love the way it just sets the mood, and they have some really beautiful music in this episode. And with the cello playing later, we'll hear that too. It's good stuff.
So Jeff Russo, the guy who does all the music for Star Trek Discovery and Picard, don't know if you guys know this or not, but he is from the band Tonic, and they had a really big hit song, If You Could Only See, back in like the 90s. And
what did he play in the band?
Guitar.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that song though. If you could only see the way she loves me, that one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I love that one.
Yeah. So he's 2-time Grammy nominated and Emmy winner. And he was in that band. He was also in a band called Low Stars. They're a little more like indie kind of folk rock.
Cool.
But so that's just a little, side note there.
The music in Discovery is one thing I've noticed too. And I'm paying attention a little bit more this season because I know they're not doing it in the traditional sense. They're not all gathering in a big orchestral recording studio. They're recording all their parts separately, probably to a click track, trying to get all the, and they have to assemble it in post-production. So it's a completely different process to do the music. Mm-hmm. And I haven't really, aside from noticing the music is wonderful, it hasn't sounded any worse than anything else. So I'm loving the music, and I'm loving the job he's doing scoring these episodes.
Now, when you guys were watching, you noticed the Doctor said there's no precedent for humans having a Trill simian on their body. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, there totally was. It was the Next Generation where it was the host. It was the first Trill episode ever where Will Riker took on the symbiont for Ambassador Odin. And the thing is so Dr. Crusher helped put the Odian symbiont in Will Riker in 2367. And Dr. Culbert's medical records come from the year 2257. Mm-hmm. Plus, the spear data is older than that. So when Discovery takes place in 3188, the information they have is it's never happened before, but it's totally happened before. So my question is, why didn't the Trill on the planet remember that?
Well, it's never been successful.
Right. Wasn't that was just a temporary Will was just temporarily holding the Trill. It wasn't going to be a permanent joining. But this with Adira, it's a permanent joining. So there's a difference between being a temporary holding spot for the Trill symbiont and an actual host.
It still happened though, right? So wouldn't they remember that?
It's probably, I imagine that the sphere data isn't as detailed in Starfleet records.
Well, not the sphere data.
Well, with the Trill.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is with the Trill, and that's going to be talked about in the next section. We don't know how many of the Trills actually made it back to relay that information.
Yeah, and this is years after the burn. So maybe
so they
their
might
data's
not have known that way.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
There you go.
Okay, so next up is Act 1, Connection. So storyline A, when Discovery arrives at Trill, the doctor, who is supposed to escort Adira down to the planet, instead asks Michael to do it for him. She agrees because she's a responsibility hoarder, which he knows and has totally taken advantage of it. Michael and Adira go to Trill and introduce themselves to the locals. They made such a good impression that the Trill wanted to kill Adira in less than 5 minutes. A human host is seen as an insult and is as such an abomination. The leaders order them off the planet immediately. Storyline B, Saru asks Stamets and Tilly to figure out a way to operate the spore drive travel without Stamets, just in case Stamets dies. No offense, Stamets, foreshadowing anyone? We then see the doctor meeting with the captain and telling him that the crew has PTSD. Saru, being a good captain, asks what they need to get better. Connection.
Yeah, Stamets was being a dick here. I don't know if this was like if this was just like PTSD from his being impaled and then in a coma or what was going on, but he was just fucking rude to Tilly and for no reason,
My note was he's in asshole mode.
Right.
We knew from the start that Stamets is a little prickly. He was a little rough to work with in the beginning.
Well, hopefully Culber's doesn't have a little prickly.
Well, yeah. The big pricklies take care of those problems, I hope. But yes, the crew is stressed out, and he's one of the key guys because he's the only guy that can work the jump drive. So he's got a lot of stress just on that part of things, let alone the whole we've been jumped into the future and all of that going on. So he's got a lot of stress. So he's extra pissed off and is like, Tilly, you're wasting my time. I know you're trying, but please don't waste my time is the line he said. And it was not very sensitive. So I think, he was on the over edge of the asshole side of things. I think he could have taken a little bit more of a chill pill and been a little bit easier on Tilly, but maybe it was just, a bad day for him. I don't know.
Yeah. Chill, Stamets, chill.
I mean, he was acting like Sheldon, but from Big Bang, but with the endearing parts. He really.
Wait a minute, Sheldon had endearing parts?
Well, Sheldon, you can kind of understand Sheldon. It was different attack angle. Sheldon does it in a way of being unknowing that he's affecting people that way, where Stamets was just like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Don't bother me. Don't do this. Don't do that. And I thought, you're right. He definitely took a deep, deep drink of the asshole potion for this section. And it wasn't good.
And, it may not have been that he was doing it on purpose. It may have just been the trauma of what he'd gone through and he hadn't been able to process it yet.
Exactly.
How he was handling it.
He was just like a bundle of raw nerve and like everything was like getting on,
Yeah.
Everyone, including the ship's pilot, you could see, that was another thing that I wanted to bring up. When people go through combat and people seen things, when they're in an unguarded moment, if they haven't dealt with it, you get what they call as 1,000-mile stare. And again, whoever directed the crew, whoever knew about this, because you see everyone had that 1,000-yard glare. They just, their eyes weren't focused on anything. They were just staring ahead, replaying stuff and thoughts in their minds.
Just walking through the hallway, you could see it.
You can see, everyone was like that. And she's jumping rope and like, you're okay? I'm fine, which is key for, I don't want to talk about it. Just leave me alone.
Well, in recovery, fine means fucked up, insecure, neurotic, and emotional.
That's a technical term.
I like that.
That's going to be a t-shirt if it isn't.
Yep.
And that's exactly where everyone was. They were fine, to coin your phrase that you used.
Yeah.
They wouldn't, whenever we were in group in rehab, they would not let us answer with the word fine. We would have to tell them what we were actually feeling because fine was just, a cop out.
I have to agree on that. And it's funny because the way Culber had been in the Spore universe for a while and had to deal with a sense of loss, fear, unknowing. He's in a perfect position to try to help walk people through things, to be basically like a counselor. So I thought that was cool. And the fact that he's walking around kind of happy and kind of loving and concerning without being overly sweet. So I thought that was cool.
And then speaking of Saru and Stamets, when they were in that area and Saru comes in and he's asking Stamets how he was. And, he says to him, you were impaled with this spike and placed in a coma. I thought it was so funny when Tilly said in a sarcastic voice, yes, but other than that, he's fine.
There you go.
Something else.
See, there you go. There's that word again.
Yep.
Yeah, she's something else.
He said it to her so many times.
You could see the captain she's going to be, the no-nonsense type of person. You see into that. It is awesome. How did you notice that the computer's personality was coming out that we saw in the Star Trek short?
Yep.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. That's good stuff right there.
That scared me a little bit. I was like,
okay, it was a little freaky.
What's going on here?
Yeah, because you expect your computer to react a certain way. You know, you don't expect your computer to be a little funky.
Yeah, when it goes, hello.
It's like, instead of just doing a little, hi.
Yeah, and starting off with a laugh, too.
Yeah. And I wondered, was it just one voice or was it several voices?
There were a couple voices.
I thought I might have heard 3 in there, actually. It was really cool. I dig the original voice of Discovery's computer because she said black alert in my ear at the convention one time, but which is just an experience on its own. But to hear the computer change into that computer we saw in that short trek, this is exciting because it's going to be a wild card. I mean, this computer has empathy. I like that.
Well, it's because the sphere is joined with it. So
yeah, but we still have the mystery from this short. It's like, when does Book get on that ship? Because in the short, the ship is fully sentient, and Book winds up being on it for some reason, trying to get back to his family. So I'm curious how they're going to tie that in. Are we going to have another jump, or we're going to have another time shift, or what? So it's going to be interesting.
For my love, jump in. No.
Is that the first short trek that doesn't line up or doesn't add up with the other episodes so far?
So far, all the other ones had a bearing on something, except for the ones for the Strange New Worlds. They haven't really touched on that one yet.
Wasn't Calypso the very first short trek episode?
I think it was the one with Tilly and the ice cream and the princess.
Oh, was that the first one?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's definitely going to be interesting where they're going to tie that in.
Yeah.
And then when they get to the planet, first off, I couldn't believe that Ronnie is a Trill. That explains why she knew so much about construction.
I know. I was like, Ronnie's on here. Yay. She's a Trekkie.
For those of you that don't know, Ronnie is a character from Schitt's Creek on TV. So in another episode and another thing. So she played the Trill,
the town council lesbian.
Yeah. So, but she was on this show. And for them to get there, you think, oh, this is going to be a happy reunion and it's going to be cool. And it's like, oh, where's the Trill? It's like, that's the Trill. Kill it.
Almost. Right? It's like, get the fuck out.
Like, what
they
the
were
hell?
not
That's
happy.
human. No. I mean, I can understand where they're coming from, but yikes. I thought Trills are a little bit more open than that.
I wrote down Speciesism exists in 3189.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah, it does.
Yeah. So you think we've moved past these petty things of, oh, you're different than me. So, ooh, David. But
the thing I wrote down, the longer she stays, she's threatening to our ideas. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
It was like, really? Your ideas are threatened by the mere existence of this person. It was like, wow.
Fragile system then.
And in the future, I guess melee weapons or giant corn cob holders.
You can also use those to rake the lawn.
Yeah.
It's like, what the hell? And you thought they would be more sympathetic and stuff like that rather than kill it.
You can use those to decapitate a snowman, too.
There you go.
Well, that's also true. But I like how Michael is so decisive now.
Oh, my God.
She used to get plagued with ideas and stuff.
Okay, right. This note it gets into the next section, but she is fast with the phaser.
Yes.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Did you know that although we've seen like several Trill serve in like Starfleet throughout the years, it has never explicitly been stated on screen canon that the planet Trill was a part of the Federation?
I was wondering about that because did they like leave too, or did they just kind of like give up?
They might not have,
because they didn't survive the burn. I'm just like, I was kind of confused at that.
They may have never joined to begin with. We don't know.
Yeah, I think you're right. Because they said they never did join.
Well, every time we see a Trill, every time we see a Trill in Star Trek, typically it's kind of an anomaly. It's like an alien. It's like, oh, well, this person's they've got a worm in them. Either it's a surprise and like, all of a sudden, Yeah, they got a squid, they got a worm, they got a parasite. Like, no, this is my Trill. This is part of what I am. It's like, you guys don't have one. I mean, it's kind of an anomaly every time we see them.
And there's one more thing too. You guys notice how they went down in the shuttlecraft instead of being beamed to the planet?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a good precaution. I don't know if they did that on purpose or not, but you're right. You don't necessarily want to beam the Trill if there's something going on with that.
Well, in the Next Generation episode, the host, Trill couldn't use the transporter because it would damage the symbiont. However, in Deep Space Nine, Dax beamed like everywhere all the freaking time.
Yeah.
And we also saw Adira beam aboard too, so...
Well, maybe they, by Deep Space Nine, they had a condom for the Trill so that, they could keep them protected.
I was going to say they programmed the biofilters to not filter out the Trill.
A transporter. That's awesome.
A transporter condom.
Yeah,
transporter condom.
That's a good idea.
So
you
funny.
never know.
What I found was interesting, though, is that the Trill, as a species, as hosts for the symbionts, that they were just so stuck in their ways. They were stuck in these ideas that, that only Trill could be, hosts for the symbionts. And, that it seems rather weird to me.
Or only Trill could use the pool. Like, why is a non-Trill going into a pool going to make it dirty somehow? Like, how is that, going to happen?
Well, there's more to the pool than just being a swimming pool, obviously. But, the Trill are not a young species. They're kind of old. They're not just old. They're like multiple generations old.
Yeah.
And, when you get older, you tend to get some kind of opinion and you change your ways. Maybe you become more, no, I know what to do here because I have the experience. I'm the expert now. You should listen to me. And maybe it's not right.
All of those old fogies just need to play some video games and then they wouldn't be so stuck in their ways.
Maybe they need more video games on Trill. That's a good idea.
It reminded me of like the 40s and 50s where, in segregated America where, you had, a black drinking fountain and a white drinking fountain and you couldn't contaminate.
Oh, wow.
The other. That's what that's what I was getting from it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Blowing my mind right there. Yeah.
That's probably why I got so mad when I heard that.
You also had Dorothy Dandridge back in the day.
Dandridge.
Dandridge. You speak, Nathan. Shut up. When you put her toe into the swimming pool, and they actually emptied the pool
drained
the pool and scrubbed it.
What?
Because she contaminated with her big toe.
Yep.
That's called throwing a sissy fit.
Yes.
Yeah. So
it's called a stupid
basically
fit.
kind of acting the same way.
Mm-hmm.
So, but at least we can talk about on the next section what happens with that.
Yeah.
But it's pretty cool.
The coolest thing about this, I liked the fish that was in the water and then flew out again. I was like, they got jumping fish. That jumping fish just flew the fuck out. Like, whoa.
That was so freaking cool.
That's why they have those big giant things so they can catch the fish while they get airborne.
And speaking of the pools and everything, if you guys want more information on the pools, Deep Space Nine, the episode is Equilibrium, and Jadzia goes in the pools.
Well, with all the research and everything that you're doing, I think I'm going to put you in for a commendation as well.
Yay!
You do a lot of research.
Yes. I don't have to clean the filters from the holodeck ever again.
We got all the holodecks cleaning the filter, which is kind of funny in a way. You got a holodeck cleaning the holodeck, but hey, it works.
All it is, you got to put the emitters in the right place.
Yeah,
exactly.
So,
what I like though about who was it, Commander Z, or what was his name?
ZXI.
Yeah, Z. He knew that Adira was the future. Like, you always have one person, if the culture and the people are stunted and stuck in, some archaic mindset, there's always a couple people who are aware and awake to realize that, someone outside of their existence may be the answer to what's going on, because even Z says that their species is on the verge of extinction. So, Adira, having been a human host, who is successfully joined with a Trill symbiont, that's the future.
Well, if they're on the verge of extinction, they did a bang-up job, didn't they?
Totes.
Yeah, because you think the Trill of, and I think maybe it's just because we all love Dax, but you think of the Trill as an enlightened species that's willing to go out and try new things because, let's experiment. And it just sounds like some of these Trills are just not that at all.
And you got to wonder if that was because of the burn, or was that just some kind of, cultural shift that
could be combinations thereof, because Dax was one of those that was out there in Starfleet. I mean, she's out and about doing things, having adventures. Meanwhile, on the planet, maybe these are people that just, we just want to hang out on our planet and mind our own business.
Well, with the burn, didn't they say that most of the symbionts died during the
hosts
burn?
Well, they're all out and about, right?
Yeah, they were. They're on starships and other places. But when you get somebody who's long lived like that, they tend to, in my opinion, would get kind of set in their ways. I've seen things and I've done things. So, you can't surprise me. There's no other way to do it. Yes, there is. No, there's not. Holy shit. There is another way to do it. And they were so stuck.
Yeah. You can be, people get stubborn because they think they know it all. And sometimes they do, but try to change your ways and see if you can do it. It's like, it's not impossible.
Just because you haven't done it don't mean it can't be done.
Well, it's just like, I put the toilet paper on where it goes forward, and my roommate puts it on where the comes off the back end. And I'm like,
I thought we were not going to get political on this episode. Oh my God, that is the biggest argument on the planet. If you find somebody that is opposite your opinion on this,
it drives me insane.
You still use a toilet paper?
Yes.
That was one of the fights me and my ex-boyfriend would have, was the toilet paper in the direction. I'm like, if it bugs you so much, just change it.
It's like, the other one is, which way do you store the cup in the cupboard? I mean, do you store it standing up or you facing
upside
downward?
Down.
Yeah, upside down.
I stored where it fits. So it's on top of each other and one inside of another.
Oh, yeah,
and
you can stack
find
them.
glasses and glasses. And
yeah.
Just don't open the cupboards. It might all fall.
Be very careful opening the cupboards.
Yellow alert. Yellow alert.
In the back on Earth where it comes to the toilet seat. You get some people
No, that shit goes down. That shit goes down because I live in I got one woman in the house. It just goes down. It doesn't even matter. She doesn't even use our bathroom. She's got her own, but no, it goes down. It doesn't matter.
I've heard discussions when I was active duty. We used to have long drawn out arguments about this along with the women Marines. And it's like, why do we have to leave it down when it's just as easy for you to pull it down when you're going to sit down, just to drop it when you sit down, and then when you stand up, raise it.
Well, so I'm just lazy, so I leave it down all the time just because I don't want to stand, so I just sit, even if it's just to pee.
I leave it down because I grew up with 5 women in the house.
Yeah.
And I could never understand why they always wanted to sit down. So one night I had to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, you find out the hard way.
Yeah, and I went to go sit, and you know how your ass tells you you're supposed to be stopping now.
There's that sheer moment of excitement.
And all of a sudden,
we're still moving.
You hit the water, and I'm like a beach turtle. I'm going grabbed onto the side. My legs are up in the air. My mother walks into the bathroom, see me, rocking back and forth, trying to get out the toilet. And all she said was, and left. From that point on, the seat was down.
And that's how you settle that situation. You gain empathy.
Yeah, sure the hell did.
Too much.
I guess we can go to the next section because we certainly went off the road on this.
Well, we didn't finish the dinner. We didn't.
Well, I think we're getting to the dinner.
Yeah, we have
that's
to
not
go
in
to
the
the
next
dinner.
section, though.
Act 2, I think, is where we need to get to.
Yep.
But I do want to ask, have you guys ever seen a yellow alert before? Or was this the first time we saw a yellow alert?
No, there's been yellow alerts.
Oh, yeah, all the
shows.
time. In fact, that's probably not even the first time you've seen it on Discovery. I mean,
yeah,
they have that
whenever
sucker
you
on
leave the toilet seat up, it's a yellow alert.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Whenever you know that the yellow alert's on the screen, doesn't matter what's going on in the situation, it's the toilet seat being, that's what it is.
That's what it is. Okay.
No, I dig that about the HUD display on Discovery's bridge. It's got the alert status.
Yeah, that was nice.
And I love watching the little ticks moving across the top of the screen so you can see which way they're pointing. Although it doesn't make entire sense because you've got to have ticks on every angle, because left and right's one angle, but then you've got to go up and down and sideways, and because it's 3 dimensions in space. But it looks cool. It looks really cool.
They have medication for ticks.
Well, that's another thing that kind of annoys me in a way, because when starships get to each other, they always seem to face each other right side up. If it's space, why can't we come across a ship that's upside down and the other one's right side up?
I think they align before they cut to the camera. I think they just kind of do it just just for the movies.
Or even sideways.
There's got to be one person that shows up sideways and just like, what the hell are you doing? He's like, I don't care.
Like one time I read a book, which I thought was funny, about this guy who was taken off of Earth. And then he came back and they said, you're at Earth. And he goes, no, it's not. And he goes, it is. He goes, no, it's not. And he goes, it is. Oh, I understand. Hold on. Let's rotate the image for you. He goes, oh, now that's Earth. Because he was so used to looking at a globe from face on, when actually the head came from the South Pole up. So he didn't recognize it because he just saw the Arctic.
That's funny. Yeah. That point of reference is something else. I don't know if they do it elsewhere. In America, we're used to seeing the globe with the United States right there in the middle. And to some of the episodes in the early Star Treks, they just flip it around and like, this is a foreign planet. But the other people look at it and go, well, that's Australia right there. And this is that. And because we're used to seeing it a certain way.
Exactly.
So Act 2, Family Dinner. Storyline A, as Michael and Adira are leaving the planet, they are attacked and Michael quickly kicks ass. Another Trill shows up, but this one wants to help, and he takes him to the sacred meditation caves. It's breathtaking, and the pools are enchanting. Adira goes through the ritual, but something goes wrong, and she starts to shake violently before being pulled into the water. Storyline B, Saru is in his headquarters scrolling through the computer trying to get some answers with no luck. The computer can tell that he's frustrated, and the voice and the whole personality change. This new AI, Zora, starts to give some really good advice, like giving the crew the night off, viewing an old Buster Keaton movie, or hosting a dinner for the bridge crew. Saru agrees and puts together a gorgeous dinner for everyone. During the dinner, Giorgio sets off a chain of Hakui challenges, which spark a family fight, ending the dinner. No worries, it's just a normal Tuesday evening at Tilly's house. At least the wine was good.
I love the advice the computer gave Saru. Some really solid advice on there on how to deal with the crew being the way it is.
I dug the hell out of the computer doing all that stuff and giving the advice.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
And the computer's obviously like, y'all need to chill out for a while. That's kind of what it said.
Just give them a night off.
You need exercise, medication, limited dairy. So I guess they've got too much dairy going on. And beyond the standard parameters, you need yoga, hyperbaric chamber, therapeutic coloring books, interstellar shopping.
Well, that's where the light dairy is where the farts come in. So
right. Okay.
They didn't get to the part where you have movie night with Buster Keaton.
Yeah, right? That was that we're about to say that, I think.
Well, what was funny about the dinner, though, is like obviously it was a grand gesture from Saru to try and bring everyone together and to have this moment of community.
Yeah.
And it fucking falls to shit, which is typical of any family.
It's so well intentioned. Only thing I got to say is about that dinner is 2 words: Stamets' blood.
Stamets' blood was
so red.
That was some fucked up shit going through her head. It was. That's how stressful things is, because she can only focus on his blood on the floor of sickbay. I'm like, oh my God, that's freaky.
Yeah.
Well, it's her PTSD coming out.
Yeah.
It's like,
But let's bring that up in the middle of a beautiful dinner with Saru. It's just like, wow, this is so inappropriate.
Well, they forced her to do a haiku.
That's true. They did force her. She was like, no.
And if you notice when they were doing the haikus and Culber decides to do his and he screws it up, he didn't really screw it up.
Yeah. I love the insight when you saw the ready room afterward.
Yeah.
How they talked about that, because that was like, well, I mean, I bet he actually did screw it up, but I like the insight to where he says, well, no, maybe he did it on purpose. So it
gave everyone permission that it's okay not to be okay.
It's okay not to be okay. I love that. That's so beautiful.
He is such a good actor. Like, he makes that character really, really shine.
He does. I mean, when his character, this was a great episode for Culber. I really am liking his character so much. And it's not just because he's a fucking beautiful man. He is, but it's his character.
And I know him. I know him.
How do you know him?
I live in L.A., honey.
Oh, okay.
Come on.
Okay, never mind. That makes sense.
I've seen him out and about at a bunch of various things, and we've talked on Facebook and we talked in person.
I'd like to high five him because his work is wonderful. His character is wonderful. I dig it all.
Is he as hot in person as he is on TV?
Oh, yeah. And he's super sweet too.
Oh, that's
he's a nice
so
guy.
cool.
You can see he's a legit nice guy. When you saw him at the convention, he's like, he's a legit nice dude because he's just him right there. It was really cool.
That's so cool.
Oh, speaking of the convention for next August, he's going to be there. So is Anthony Rapp and so is Sonequa Martin Green.
Cool.
Once again,
they're lining people up.
Could have been done in the news.
Yeah, we could have done a news segment. By the way, the convention's still happening.
I forgot about it. So
that's what you get for doing that instead of looking for what hat to put on.
Well,
okay.
wait. If we're going to talk about news, I got something. Okay, so Zora, the person who is the AI computer for Discovery, the person who voices that is Annabelle Wallace, and she is dating Chris Pine, who is Captain Kirk.
Whoa.
Yeah, she's been dating him since 2018.
That's some nepotism going on right there.
Well, is this a Star Trek thing? Do actors like hang out with other people involved in Star Trek? Because, you also had, what's the one with Rebecca
Romaine is number one, and Jerry O'Connell is on Lower Decks.
Also number one on the Lower Decks. Yeah, so you got that connection. Was Jerry Ryan involved with somebody like a producer or something like that? Am I getting that wrong?
No. She was married to a politician at one point, which is where she got the last name Ryan.
I thought she was involved with someone else on the show. Maybe it was somebody else, another actor.
Jadzia Dax. She's dating the son of
that's true.
Nimoy.
Yeah. So I like these little.
Married.
Oh,
they're married.
They're married now. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
they're married now.
Yeah, now they're married. Things have happened. It's amazing.
I remember when they were dating.
Yeah, when two people get together.
Jadzia used to date the Verizon guy.
Really?
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Way back in the day.
Holy cow.
Okay, that's interesting. I'm not judging.
We really left the show behind on this.
Okay, so TMZ. Starfleet Underground TMZ.
Okay, so get back to the dinner.
Get back on track with the dinner.
Okay, who cried when Tilly gave her speech at the dinner table?
Oh,
it was so emotional.
There were so many emotional modes happening on that whole scene. All these things were happening, and she literally comes out and says, "You guys are both acting like complete assholes." And she's not just talking about the guys; she's talking about Detmer too. I mean, and then you see the battle of the egos between these two people, the ship movers, because he's like, "I just jumped the whole fucking ship through the mycelial network," and she's like, "I just crashed it on a fucking planet and we lived." They're both amazing at what they do. Mm-hmm. No one, you can't put one over the other. They're both amazing and they're vital to the survival of Discovery.
It comes down to, I think, the fact of everybody wants to feel appreciated and acknowledged. Mm-hmm. And she feels that he's always saying, "Look at me, what I did this. And she goes, "I did shit too,
Yeah.
I'm in a thankless position."
Tilly was feeling that way too. So the problem is Stamets.
Yeah.
So in both cases, with Detmer and Tilly, the problem is Stamets because he's either oblivious or it's part of his PTSD that he's not acknowledging the fact that other people helped him get where he is.
But this is all a bigger part of the story about being connected, but, being able to see each other. And, everyone needs a freaking break. This is what it is. Everybody needs a break. Everybody needs a vacation. And I think the writer needed a vacation when they wrote this episode. And I could kind of relate because I still haven't gotten my vacation yet because I haven't taken it since the whole convention thing being canceled. And we've been waiting for months. And anyway, I need a vacation. So I can relate to everybody freaking out on this episode.
Captain, can we have a vacation? Can we go to Risa, please?
Yeah, actually, sure. Why not? I could use a little bit of a break.
Why don't we just go into the pools of Makala and we can get pulled down and take a break?
Get sparked up.
Yeah.
Get your eyes white.
That's not going to happen.
Get some Ketracel white eyes.
These were some wide eyes. Oh my God.
If you want to go there and let your worm free, that's on you. I'm going to go to Risa.
My worm's too big.
Let your worm swim.
So now, but the dinner, you're right, was just like most family dinners where you don't want to bring up the subject because grandpa's going to talk about how he loved it when people sang in the fields, so you just don't want to do that.
Man, yeah, this is dinner is something I can't entirely relate to because my family's on the smaller side of things. And we when we were bigger, we had the dinner once in a while, but we didn't have major episodes like this. So it's just like, wow to me.
Oh, wow. Really? Okay, so they're like, give the crew a night off. My question is, do they not get nights off? Do they work like 7 days a week?
That's a good point.
Like, is this why everyone is so messed up? Because they're working 24/7?
No, you get time off, but I don't think everyone gets time off at the same time.
Yeah, well, the other thing is
they gave everyone
don't even get
time.
one night off.
You still get, they get nights off if you
like
don't have the night shift.
A week off or something?
Well, the thing is, I think they would get a break, but they're in a new place and they don't know what's going on. So they need everybody.
Everybody's on alert.
Yeah, all hands on deck.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going on.
So they've been on alert for like the last 2 or 3 days or 4 days or however many days it's been.
When we used to go out into the field and we're on a mission that's out there are times where I know that on a 2-week deployment thing that I had one time, I was lucky that I got even 20 hours worth of sleep. So things happen.
How do you survive?
You actually don't. I actually got sent back because, well, that's another story. And before they
Captain?
had to evaluate things before I was able to get back to the field. It was
Thank
when you're
you
in a
so
position
much.
of authority, it's
Thank
a
you
lot.
for not-
Thank you.
Thank you for doing thank you so much for not forcing us to, get no sleep. I like my 8 hours. I like you.
Yeah.
You're a good captain.
Well,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for your service, if that's what we're referring to, and all of those who do serve. My goodness.
I've been of service.
We don't want your service, sir. That's not the kind of service I'm talking
We're not
about.
talking about that service.
Not military service, but I've been of service.
We're a ship of service. If you want to go there.
No, what you're trying to say is you like being serviced. So,
Well, that too, yes.
all right, let's continue on because we're off the rails again.
And we're way past that.
So, yeah, the other side of things I was looking at was Adira's side of the story. She's got these repressed memories that she needs to face, and sticking her in the pole is like, it's like a memory issue. And I was trying to, think about this, and what came to me was like in technology, and you've got a hard drive that's not working right for some reason because it can't read the sector of data. So it just the memory's repressed.
Yeah.
So you got to spin write that drive. If you've got the software to do it, you take and run the spin write software, which looks at if you still, are we still using hard drives? Because everyone's on a SSD now, right? But anyway, you look at the sector, it flips it around a little bit and makes that sector recoverable. And all of a sudden you can remember. And I think what's happened with Adira is she's got a blocked sector in her head that just needs to get flipped the right way so she can become one with the Trill symbiote.
And this is where we meet Gray, which is Ian Alexander, the transgender actor.
We're not at that section
we're
yet.
not quite there, but that's what she needs, I think.
Yeah,
Let's
we're not
do
at that
that.
section yet.
So her eyes go white, and I love the shot where they flip the camera upside down. It was like you literally flipping your world upside down. I just loved that shot.
Act 3, Rabbit Hole. Storyline A, Adira goes full Matrix and connects with the symbiote network. The memories come flooding back, and we learn that the last Trill host was Adira's boyfriend.
Which is Gray. And Gray is Ian Alexander, who is the first transgender actor on Star Trek. And their storyline was so amazing. I mean, it didn't even feel like they were acting. And to me, it just felt like it was their truth. You know what I mean?
Well, their acting is so seamless. You're really believing it.
And that's what I mean. It seemed like there was it wasn't a scene. It was just, you just happened to be watching these two people talking to each other, and it was, for me, it was emotional. It was special, and it was beautiful.
I loved how playful they were. We were just talking back and forth. They're so playful. I was digging that.
That's why you love me, because I'm perfect.
Right. It was so cute.
It was a really good scene. You can understand why what happened was so traumatic, and
that she blocked it out. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was such a beautiful thing. I mean, she made something physically. It wasn't replicated. It was an artistic thing. And it was just so sweet. That quilt of memories.
Say it. You're an art genius.
It was such, it was like, say it.
You're an art genius.
Okay, fine. I'm an art genius. It was just like, oh, that's so sweet.
There is a moment that on that part, though, that kind of, I guess, triggered a fear of mine. One of the biggest fears I had is when I was on duty is to be fired on by an artillery shell, even though I was in artillery. Because you look at the sky, you see a dot and it's slowly getting bigger. And you go, what the fuck is that? And you have no chance to defend yourself. You have nothing to do but just pray that you survive. And so when they're doing that nice little scene, and I saw in the window, it's like, oh my God.
Oh shit. That was an shit moment.
I thought it was about
you know, and the thing just is like, oh my God. And that thing hit the way it did. It is like, wow.
But didn't it look like a Baul?
I thought it was a big giant rock in space.
Yeah, I thought it was.
I don't think it was something like the bird. It looked like it was a random asteroid that just nobody saw coming.
Yeah, and the fact that it speared all the way through it was like, oh my God.
Yeah, it was traumatic.
And that really was emotional.
That you take this beautiful moment that's happening between these two people, and all of a sudden,
crash it.
It goes completely horrible.
Yeah. But then, of course, the love that Adira has for Gray when she volunteers to take the Trill, to take the symbiont, you know, because she knows that she can't let it die because she loves Gray so much.
Yeah. And that when the Trill was a part of Gray, it's still me. He's just more of me. And it's just like, that's so beautiful.
Well, not just that, he's dying, and the only way Adira can keep him, you know, is by having the Trill. Mm-hmm. Yeah, if they have the Trill inside, then they can keep Gray with them for, you know, as long as they're alive.
At least keep the memory alive. But we learned something later in the last scene that
I don't think she knew that she would still have Gray with her, though, when she decided.
I think it was just a beautiful act of let's save something that's beautiful.
Well, not the way that it was shown at the end of the episode, but I think it was more like, I'll have a part of him with me. You know what I mean? I didn't think she realized that. I
agree. She wanted to save, you know, anything. It's like somebody whose house is burning down. Back before things went to the cloud and digital, is the thing that people would most save was pictures. To have something to remember.
Save the memories.
Yeah, to save the memory.
Oh, yes.
So that was a really, and the fear of the unknown. It's too painful. It's like, you know, Seven, what's in the box? I don't want to see what's in the box.
It wasn't that box.
You know, but still it's like the unknown. I know this is going to wake something bad. I don't want to see it.
Yeah, she was really freaking out when the threads were trying to connect. And it was like, hey, hello. I'm like, you should let them connect because that's what's going on in this place. You shouldn't be running from these things. And so she literally was running from the Trill connection.
It's like, come on, you can see their fiber optic. It'll be quick.
Yeah, exactly. I only went to the fingers, though. I thought it was going to like envelop and make multiple connections throughout the entire body. But it's all, you know, I think it wasn't like a physical place they were, because they were in the pool. So I don't know.
It was totally Matrix, dude.
Yeah, it was a Matrix thing.
In the pool, connected by wires. Oh my God, that was Matrix.
Yeah.
But as much as the Trill on the planet were kind of racist in that respect, when they realized that, okay, this is happening, we need to give our support. She's in there rather than, pull her out anyway.
Rather than let her die, yeah.
Yeah, let her die. Kill. They were like, okay, we might be wrong on this. Let's go ahead. Let's do what we can.
They may have cleaned the pools afterward.
Yeah, put the swizzle sticks in the water. Put the swizzle sticks in the water, and let's see what we can do.
Let's light this mother up.
Now, counting Admiral Senel Tal, at least two of the other Tal's previous hosts were Starfleet officers. We could see them in like different uniforms and everything with different colors. And from the look of it, it looked like one of them, the uniform was the same as Star Trek Picard. And if that's the case, then Tal, the symbiont, is probably around like 700 or 800 years old, somewhere around there.
That's a lot of life experience to draw from.
Well, there were 5 hosts that we saw, not including Gray. So that would be 500 years. Does having a symbiont allow you to live longer? I don't recall that.
And do Trills live just as long as humans, or do Trills live longer than humans?
Yeah, well, I think longer because they get passed around.
That sounded so wrong.
Yeah, in a good way. In a good way.
You're a party favor. Here, we're going to pass you around.
A generational party favor. But I love the idea of the Trill, the multiple lives of generations of memories and beings within that entity. I always loved that sci-fi-ness too, like Jadzia Dax in DS9, and to see that character come out in Discovery and in modern day Star Trek and be a big character. I'm really all for this. And it's so cool that it's such a young looking character. So you have the young character playing the old. I always found that fascinating when we got to see Ezri Dax. So this is really, I'm just digging this character a lot. Gonna love Adira.
Yep.
And speaking of Ezra Dax got her symbiont the same way Adira Tal got her symbiont. Like it was an emergency transfer.
From Jadzia.
Yeah, it wasn't, you didn't get to go to Trill school to take care of it. It was like, boom, you got a Trill. Whoa!
It's like, this is the only way we're going to save the symbiont.
It's like, you got an STD. Oops.
Oh, there's time to switch bodies. Sorry.
Yeah. Whoops.
I'm gonna leave that clap invested mess back there. I'm gonna go with you.
But it was pretty cool.
It's time for the upgrade. It's like a new phone.
So should we move on to the final act?
Yes, please.
Yes, we can.
Okay, last one, Act 4, Acceptance. So storyline A, the last memory floods into Adira's brain. They had just given Gray a handmade quilt when their ship was hit by a comet, killing Gray. In an effort to save the symbiont, it was transferred to Adira. After the memories flood back, Adira now has access to all of her past lives and memories, including her boyfriend, Gray. The Trill accept Adira after the connection was made and are now willing to mentor them. But nope, they decided to stay on Discovery. After this experience, the Trill are willing to join with the Federation. Back on the ship, Adira Tal gives Michael the coordinates to the Federation headquarters, which will be Discovery's next stop. In storyline B, Tilly tries to cheer up Saru by telling him that he's a good captain when Stamets comes in and apologizes. He is willing to work with Tilly on her dark matter idea. Kayla goes to the doctor and admits that she's struggling through PTSD and might need to talk to him since, there's no therapist on the ship. Just then, the ship announces a surprise in the shuttle bay. Zora has put on a Buster Keaton movie to help the crew with what they're going through. Saru has a theory that the Spear data merged with Discovery and evolved when it went through the wormhole. Now, the ship is just as much a part of the crew as anyone.
That Buster Keaton movie, in my opinion, lends more towards the short with book because the computer obviously had watched old movies. And it was the old movie that it had to be able to teach book how to dance.
Zora likes old movies.
Is that a movie I should go Netflix? Is that available?
Buster Keaton's
I don't
good.
think I've seen Buster Keaton stuff.
Oh, Buster Keaton's funny.
Yeah, he's one of the original
silent movie stars.
Movies.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, did a lot of slapstick humor.
Oh, I definitely would like it.
Physical humor.
Yeah. I mean, because I grew up with like a lot of Three Stooges and
Mel
Brooks. I like Mel Brooks stuff. And of course, you got the airplane movies. I mean, we were watching when some station was playing The Naked Gun, the first big movie, Naked Gun movie. Fucking hilarious. We couldn't stop watching it because we was like, I'll just watch it for a little bit. Like the scenes just kept going to the next one. It was so good. I had to watch, but I have no idea what that has to do with Star Trek. But I'd like to see some of that movie because it looked like that was, if it was something they can come together on and enjoy, that uniting moment. Comedy is a great way to do it.
Buster Keaton.
It's a time to be able for the crew to get together and to realize. I like that how people went back one-on-one to Saru, well, some of them to apologize.
Yeah.
And how went to go look for Colbert and goes, I'd like to talk about this now. Are you going to be available? Detmer, I'd like to talk about it. And comedy is always good, like you said, to bring people together. Whenever you have something, that's why they usually will have team building exercise for groups and everything, because it helps get rid of the animosity and it helps.
Which, by the way, team building groups. Okay, if you're ever going to do a team building thing, escape rooms are awesome for that. Okay.
Yeah, they are.
My 2 cents.
They are.
Unless you've been trapped in a room for a while, then maybe not that one.
Yeah.
Well, you'll know who you want to kill real fast.
Oh, there you go.
That's for sure.
It builds the team at the end. You didn't say build all the team.
Hey, everybody's together after one person.
Did anyone else get emotional emotional when Adira finally spoke her names.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was nice.
I was for clowns.
It was so friggin' awesome that you could see the instant moment, the personality change that the actress pulled off. It was amazing. The change of character, because we've been seeing this interesting character throughout the introduction of Adira, that, spunky engineering, curious teenager type. But then we've got the person that's dealing with these traumatic memories and all the beautiful romantic moments. And then bam, we've got a enlightened Trill character. It was just so cool. The flexibility of this actor to pull all that off is amazing.
I was all teary eyed.
And the Trill, when they realize, it goes, okay, we fucked up. We were wrong. You're welcome here anytime you want.
You're like, my bad.
Yeah. And in fact, when you come back, we're going to talk about joining Starfleet, because, if humans and Trills can join, we got a lot of Trill that need hosts.
Yeah. They realize now that this abomination that they were calling her to begin with is a possible way to save their race, save the symbionts from, going extinct, because, for years and for centuries, apparently, they've thought that only Trill could be hosts for the symbionts. But,
turns out you just need to dunk them into the magic hot tub for a while.
Exactly. Into the hot tub of milky white spermicide.
It looked like that too. And there were worms.
Turn their eyes white.
It looked like there was like flatworms or something swimming in there. It's like, oh, geez.
Yeah, I love the shot though at the end when you see the threads to unravel when she's gotten connected. There was an effect shot where the threads come off. I just love that beautiful work their animators were doing. It was really cool.
And imagine they're doing all of this stuff while they're at home on quarantine.
Right. The entire background of the wavy threads in the distance was just a beautiful effect. I mean, when computers were starting to do animation, when I was interested in it, the computers were not very fast. And that kind of work was really, really grueling and painful. And I hope the computers are a little bit quicker, because the work they're doing is so beautiful. It is. Love to see more of it.
It's done really, really well. And the whole episode, I thought, dealt well, like we started this podcast with about loss and how to deal with loss and post-traumatic stress disorder. It was, the crew is far from being healed, but it's a great first step.
Totally.
Yeah.
Really good first step. And when Stamets went to Tilly and said, I'd like to hear more about that dark matter interface.
Yeah.
And the look on her face, it just,
because she's like, oh, well, I knew.
She had tears in her eyes.
Yeah, I know, because she's been validated and listened to.
Yes.
The communication is everything. To know that you're heard, to know that you're being heard and you can hear them. And the combination of that is, it's understanding.
When you're part of such a communal experience as they have been, with, traveling into the future 930 years.
Yeah, like that happens all the time.
Yeah. I mean, you need to be able to talk to somebody who's gone through that experience. So, they have to be family.
Everybody can relate.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that you can relate with somebody. Detmer being, she said she's macho, she's a macho pilot, but she needed to talk. And
But with Detmer, you can kind of get it, because, she's like, you get a chance to jump back and forth in space, but the entire ship is the fate of the entire ship, the way I pilot, is in my hands.
Yeah.
That's a huge responsibility.
Big responsibility. And it weighs on both of them in their own ways.
Yeah.
And individually, they're on their own level, because, they're such geniuses at what they do. I mean, we haven't seen very many other pilots besides Detmer at the helm. And if we do, they're definitely not pulling off the shit she's doing. She did that donuts in space. I mean, she's genius at piloting the ship, but who else can she relate to with this? So it's cool to see that the person you can't get along with right away, you can actually say, hold on. You're good. I'm good. Maybe they can get along.
Mend the fences.
And you see the cute little scene they had with Linus and Giorgio?
Linus is getting his grub on.
He's getting
that was cool.
He hands popcorn to her, and she takes it and gives like a little bit.
The popcorn.
She gives a little smile.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
There were a lot of cute moments in there. I loved what they did in that scene.
She was enjoying herself.
Yeah, she was.
She just didn't want to admit it.
No, and she's really falling in love with the crew.
Yeah.
So, but I wonder at the last scene when you have not Adira, what is their name?
Gray?
Gray?
No, Adira.
And Gray and Adira.
The cello scene?
The cello scene at the end. That was touching, but I wonder if that's a pretense to her seeing her different hosts.
Yeah,
I'm going to come out and talk to her like that.
That was kind of like a hold on a second moment for me, because that's something I've been seeing a lot in more recent science fiction. Is you see the person in their head represented by an actor talking to them, but no one else can see it because it's literally in your own head. And that's been a thing for a while. I mean, at least since Battlestar, we'd see characters talking to other characters that aren't really there because they're in their head. That's
Fight Club.
Yeah, Fight Club's one of them. Yeah, it's a method that they're using now. It's a trick they have up their sleeve. And I hope it doesn't annoy me, because sometimes I find it annoying. It could have very, very cool and sweet tendencies to this too. So
if Adira has memories that go all the way back to like Picard, and she could talk to all of her former hosts, then there's like a huge possibility for what we could find out between, Picard and where they're at right now in the history of, the Federation. My question is, why do they have to go to the Federation if they have all that knowledge and everything right there?
Well, for one, she still hasn't accessed all the memories.
No, she said she's still working through it.
Yeah.
Okay.
She said some of them, and it looks like the one she was closest to, of course, is the one that she was able to access. Which was
that's an older memory, not a newer one. I mean, Picard was hundreds of years ago.
But it was a really, really good episode, and I think that we're coming towards the end now. Unless somebody has any final thoughts or stuff before we finish up paying our bills here.
Well, I just looked something up. Let's see. Trills. They are long-lived compared to most humanoid species and can easily live beyond 550 years.
Oh.
I don't know if that's the actual symbiont or if that's the Trill, the host.
No, the Trill themselves, the host only lives for about 100 years at max. So that means
but within a span, you can have multiple, because sometimes your life isn't as long as 100. So you can go through multiple symbiotes, or not symbiotes, multiple hosts.
Do you recall how many names that they had?
Was it 7? I didn't actually count them. It was something like that.
So it's possibility of being 700 and some odd years worth of experience. So between her and the Spirit Data, they have to make sure that they don't turn her into a MacGuffin. Adira, where anytime they need a problem,
you might have an instant solution once in a while.
Yeah, so you got to be careful with that. They don't want to make her wind up being despised like everyone started with Crusher, always coming up, the little kid coming up with ideas to save the ship. So, but it was a well done and well written and well crafted episode. So I again, it's hitting its stride. It's getting better and better.
Yeah, this was a good one.
Indeed.
It wasn't a action movie Trek at all. It was a different kind of Trek. It was the sci-fi Trek we like to get once in a while. It was perfect.
And speaking of which, I've decided to give all of you guys the next 2 days off.
Yay!
Gee, thanks.
Woo, woo.
What, you don't want the 2 days? Okay, Patrick, I understand your
so
dedication
generous.
to duty. When
does that start?
I got to go fix this replicator, though. It won't stop making apples.
Right after you get fit. Oh, my God, that's funny. I remember, where did I see that from? That was pretty funny.
That was
part of Gray's the quilt.
That's right. The butter, because it wouldn't stop. That was funny. I forgot about that. Thanks, everybody, for joining us on this wonderful episode. Hopefully, everyone will survive. You know what? What the hell? You guys got the next 4 days off. I can man the ship with the hologram stuff.
Can we start right away?
Yeah, actually, as soon as we finish this broadcast.
I'm surprised you're still here.
Yes, that's perfect timing, because there is a Tribble over there peeing on the carpet, and now I don't have to clean it up for 4 days.
Well, I gotta go pee too.
You would have told me that before. Okay. All right, everybody go runs and go pee, and make sure the toilet paper, if you're still using that, is facing the right way.
Exactly.
Thank you for joining us. Make sure you listen to us next week. Thank you if you joined us for the premiere. It was a pleasure having you here. Have a really, really safe time out there when celebrating. And remember, just don't have a good week and a good vacation. Make it so.
Starfleet Underground, beaming into a podcast feed near you. Log on to our website at starfleetunderground.com and send your comments and questions to thecollective@starfleetunderground.com. Follow us on Twitter at StarfleetUnderG, and on Facebook and Instagram, we're Starfleet Underground.